to have tasks. It likes to know how it is that things are being, how it is that it's going to achieve something. And then our body is what then helps us to achieve. So the body is almost like your hardware. So it's like holding your phone in your hand and then using whatever software it is to get onto the internet. So that's your body, that's your soul, and that's your spirit. And so the three of them are always interrelating. They're always communicating. And we get our...
I'm doing something.
We get our... Can we mute ourselves, please? Can we ensure that we're muted, please? Thank you. If you have any questions, feedback, you can put it in the comments section. I'm seeing some hands raised. Okay, so like I was saying, we always tend to live all of them separately, as opposed to understanding that they're always interrelating with one another. And so from our spirits, we get our vision. From our soul, we get our how to do. And from our bodies, we do. Our spirits are taken care of by our religious establishments. Adejumo, please, can you mute yourself? Okay. So our spirits are taken care of by our religious establishments. So church, mosque, whatever it is that we lean towards. And then our bodies are taken care of by, how we eat, going to the hospital when it is that we're ill, and things like that. However, for the soul and our mind, we haven't paid much attention to that. And this is why we have a lot of stigma around mental health. Okay, my system seems to be freezing. Okay, so what is mental health? Mental health is the state of health of the mind. So we know physical health, we know, when you're sick, you have malaria and all of that. That's for your body. No, but mentally, mental health is about, so to speak. Mental health is a state of well-being which allows an individual realize his or his own abilities. It's what allows an individual to be able to cope with the normal stresses of life and can work, and allows an individual to work productively and to be able to make a contribution to his or her community. Remember that I said that the mind or the soul, that is where our how is. So we come up with strategies from the mind. We come up with the how it is that we want to achieve whatever it is. So it's a very, very important factor to us working productively and being able to produce productively. It's being to contribute productively and to be able to even communicate productively. So it's a very, very important part of our well-being. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps to determine how we handle stress and how we relate to others and make healthy choices. The stress, most of the stresses that we feel, if it's not coming physically at us, like from food or from posture or an external attack from viruses or something, it's usually in the mind. So all the work deadlines, psychological, social, they're all in the mind, and how we manage that determines how it is that the body then goes on to respond to stress, because the mind influences the body at the same way the body influences the mind, and the same way the spirit influences the mind and the body as well. And so the different factors that determine our mental health outcomes, basically, that determine how it is that our mental health is. And most of these factors start from childhood. And the more risk factors that teenagers in particular are exposed to, the greater the potential, the greater the impact on their mental health if there's no intervention. And so we have to be aware that the teenage years are a very delicate time so that intervention can come in very quickly. Even though as educators, you know that a lot of, most of a child is formed by the time they are 7 years old or so. And so by the time they're now teenagers, that's now going into another phase. And it's such an interesting time being a teenager, because did I say interesting? It's an interesting time, and it's also very confusing and very, very full of stress. One of the things that my teenagers always say to me is that they feel like they're not children. They're not treated like children, but they're also not treated like adults. So they're just in between. They always say things like, there's nothing for us, nothing, parents pay so much attention to the younger ones and don't pay attention to them. Also society as well. So it's a very crucial time, because a lot is going on in the development of an individual during their teenage years. That's when the growth sprout happens. A guy is short 1 minute, and next thing he's just almost 5'11" or almost 6 feet tall. Their voice starts to crack at that point in time. They start to have new experiences. Their emotions they're getting new emotions that they haven't experienced before, or it's coming out stronger and they don't have language for it. Their hormones, so their body is also doing its own thing. Their hormones are causing their body to develop in different ways. The hormones are trying to find its own balance. And so that can be confusing, because that's when, and then things like pimples skin breakouts start to happen, voice cracking, the period starts for the girls. And all of this can be how it is managed can be very, very traumatic for children. I know they're observing things and experiencing things, but don't necessarily have the language to process what it is that they're experiencing, or what it is what it is that they're experiencing, or what it is that they're going through. It's also the time for sexual curiosity. They are noticing the opposite sex. They are noticing, there's arousal going on in their bodies. And it's a time of discovery, really. They're also trying to find their pack. They're also trying to fit in. So it's a time to be very, very mindful of them, or of teenagers. Some other factors that can affect their mental well-being, because that can affect their mental well-being is pressure from their friends and the trends that are going on. Everybody's twerking, and so they feel they need to twerk. A desire for greater autonomy, so they want to be independent because they are not children anymore, or they feel they're not children anymore, and they're treated like they're not children anymore. So at home, they tend to be given more responsibility, take care of your younger ones, but they're actually not allowed to be quite independent. So that can be very frustrating for teenagers. Another thing is the increased access to technology and the use of technology. It's just amazing how everything has changed in such a short period of time, how our whole lives seem to be so influenced by technology, social media, and all of that. And so it's very, so that brings along with it its own dangers, with a little bit of which we'll talk about. And coupled with even this new access to technology and social media and all, we're exposed to, we're in an age of overexposure. We're overexposed to a lot of information. I mean, we have almost 100,000 words hitting us per day, and we have to process these words. And then there are things that are also hitting us subconsciously that our body is absorbing, our mind is absorbing, which is why things like rest is very important for all of us, not just teenagers, for all of us, so that our mind can declutter and remove some of the things that it has absorbed during the day. Because your mind has files, And so things that are regular occurrences, it has files for them. They are in front, easily accessible, and it will file that information in there. And then the things that it feels like, okay, we don't have a file for this, your mind will put on hold in one area, or it can delete it completely. And also your mind, and then if that kind of thing becomes a regular occurrence, then you open a file for it and then start to keep those kind of information. So the mind needs that time to declutter. And that usually happens when we're sleeping or when we're at rest. And also that's a very important thing. Another factor that influences the mental health of teenagers is the quality of life at home and their relationship with their peers, with their siblings. If there's a history of mental health in the family, that's also a big one. Socioeconomic problems as well. If family used to have money one day and then another season, they don't have as much money. If there's no conversation had with the children, they tend to not be able to handle it. Or if they've just been trained in a particular way and then thrown into another situation, or maybe the family moves location, things like that can be very traumatic for teenagers who are trying to find themselves. They're still trying to find their own identity as to who they are. And then when they are thrown into situations, particularly with no conversation, then we're leaving it to them to try and process it in their own minds, to find their own words for it. And that's a big thing that we do in Nigeria, in Africa. We speak at people, we speak at particularly children, as opposed to speaking with them, understanding that they actually have a mind, understanding that they can actually understand things and they can process things, but they need us to help them to process. But when we leave it to them to find their own explanations for things, then we leave them to having their own different ways of processing, and they come to their own conclusions, which might not necessarily be accurate, which usually is not accurate. But those are the beginnings of mental health disorders, because people then start finding coping mechanisms to be able to cope with the disconnect between their realities, because the reality that they are forming does not seem to be working out. Another important thing that also causes that can lead to mental health disorders is educational or learning difficulties. We all have different learning styles, and the current education system that we have, I totally do not like it. The conventional one that we have, where everybody goes to school, everybody learns the same things, learn the same way, and then then everybody's put to do exams. If their learning style is different from that of another, if I'm not someone that can learn audibly but can learn kinetically, then if you're going to grade me the same way with an exam at the end of the school term, I won't do well, because I haven't learned in that same way. And this is not even talking about people that are on the spectrum of autism and things like that are not even also diagnosed, or parents are in denial of. Those kind of things can cause mental health, can lead to mental health disorders. Loss of a loved one can also lead to mental health disorders. And interestingly enough, something that we don't pay attention to is that our diet and lack of exercise can lead to mental health disorders, because our bodies produces hormones. So hormones are like building blocks of the body. Your body uses it. It's almost like engine oil that your body uses for almost every function. So every system in your body has its own different hormones that it needs to do the different things that it needs to do. And so the hormones are gotten from the nutrients that your body gets from digestion of the food that you eat. Now, if we're not eating good food, if we're not eating food that has nutrients in it, then your body is not going to have the adequate nutrients that it needs to produce proper levels of hormones to function properly. Same thing with movement. The body is another way I like to look at the body is like a car. it's designed to move. So like I said, it helps you to achieve your goals. So it's designed to get you from zone A to zone B. If you are not moving, then your body is also not going to function properly. And it has been shown that it affects production of hormones. It affects even posture, things like posture, how you sit, how you stand, affects hormones. It affects hormone production, affects digestion. It affects how it is that your brain processes. Things like just sitting up taller or standing up tall with the shoulders down, chest out, improves the confidence of people. And there's a lot of research to show that, to back that up. So these are some of the things that affect our mental well-being. And so some of the signs, we're all teachers here, some of the signs to be able to notice this in teenagers is strange sleeping habits. And this is not only for teenagers, this would also apply to even adults as well. Strange sleeping habits. So they're not sleeping well, or they won't sleep at night and then sleep during the day, or, just sleeping throughout. They might sleep at night, they might sleep during the day. That might be a sign of depression, not wanting to get up and do anything. Loss of interest in things that they used to do. Sudden withdrawal, just withdrawing from being social, from being with people. Thoughts of suicide and self-harm. This you can even get a glimpse of if you listen to the kind of music, if you pay attention to the kind of music that the children are listening to. If a lot of children are very artistic, if you give them paper and pen and tell them to draw something and make that a habit, you'll be amazed about you'll be amazed at the insight into their thoughts that you will get from just looking at the kind of art that they produce or the kind of art that they connect with. So those are ways that we can also check out, we can get insights into what's going on with the teenagers around us. Periods of being extremely energetic and then low energy, that's already showing, that's very similar to being bipolar. Obsession with food, either not wanting to eat or overeating, that's a big sign. A drop in their school grades. So they were doing well, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing well. By the time you have conversation with that child, you'll find out what it is. You'll notice that something is going on. Risky behavior, self-harm, that's also a big one. There are children that just like to take unnecessary risk, play pranks that are just unnecessary. And it's because they're looking for a thrill. They're looking for something to thrill them, or they're looking for something to get them into trouble. It's a cry for help. Then coping mechanisms that we know or are familiar with, using drugs, smoking, drinking, even sex. Those are signs of, that there's something going on here. And then anxiety, when children are just extremely worried about things, then you know that those are flags that something is up. Then I just thought I'd touch on some of the most popular or the major mental health disorders that are seen in teenagers, that we see in teenagers. One of the top ones is anxiety, which is the feelings of fear, of nervousness, of worry, which is understandable when we process what it is that they're going through as teenagers. They're trying to find their own identity. They're trying to find their own pack. So they're trying to understand what it is that they like, what it is that they don't like. Their value system is forming, or should be formed at this point in time. What they're trying to express what their value system is, because what was instilled in them before was what the parents and their teachers taught them. But when they're teenagers and they have a little more freedom, they're in secondary school, they're meeting people from different backgrounds, those value systems get to be tested. So there's a lot of anxiety at that time. There's a lot of, will I be accepted? Will I not be accepted? Am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? Then there's anxiety with even school performance. the way we grade schools or the way that curriculums are designed already flawed. And that already brings its own set of anxiousness to children, particularly if they feel like they are struggling and they are not being supported in school. Another thing is, and then social media has a great way, because when they're now exposed to other people that seem to have everything down, that can cause anxiety as well. Then another thing that that we notice a lot of is the ADHD. Now, this attention deficit disorder is a brain disorder that allows one that it challenges how a person pays attention. So they generally are not able to sit still. They generally are not able to control their behavior. It's almost compulsive in the way it is that they respond, but they generally cannot manage themselves. And they tend to be the children that are labeled as the noisemakers in class. They tend to be the ones that are labeled as the disruptive ones in class. So the notorious ones in your classes, you might want to check again that it might just be ADHD that is going on with them. I remember a teenager that the school had said to us that she was always stealing things. So she was always picking things up from she just picked someone's pen, picked someone's book, she just stealing, and she had no reason to be stealing. So anyways, when we connected her with the psychotherapist, he diagnosed her with ADHD. And also those are things that we need to pay attention to. Another big one is depression. Depression is usually associated with older people, but it actually starts from the teenage years. A lot of children, we tend to say, teenagers are so moody. I know, but that moodiness is a sign of either depression or being bipolar. And so if there's no intervention at that time, a child can get stuck in any of them. And those disorders can then start to manifest as a child grows older. And depression is a mood disorder that causes a feeling of sadness. There's just sadness, heaviness, loss of interest in everything, and you just don't want to do anything. And this happens to a lot of adults as well, but it starts with children. The tendencies are there from children. And if unattended to, it can manifest physically in diseases like asthma, like cancer, like cardiovascular diseases, so heart problems and lung problems. Okay, moving on. Okay, and then another one is obsessive compulsive disorder. This one is people that they have this repetitive behavior. So, you're locking your door, you're checking your door to make sure that you locked your door. And you can do that like 5 times. You can check the time like 5 times. As I just checked it, but it's still the same time. So those kind of compulsive behaviors, it's from an unreasonable fears. And maybe a fear of personal security or whatever it is. But that is a sign that something is going on. And so you want to watch that in your wards to see if any of them is just being obsessive about something, maybe cleaning all the time, must always be impeccably clean. Yes, we like clean, but there's a place where it becomes almost obsessive. And so we want to watch that. And then bipolar. So this one is like mood swings. I know, but it's very extreme. So extreme high, extreme happy. And the next thing, so this can go on for like a month or so. And then you come back to that same child another month and the child is just sad and low and just woe is me. This is something that is also growing and increasing that we're seeing in Nigeria. Eating disorders are a big one as well. So we're seeing a lot of children that are more obsessed with their weight, not wanting to put on weight. And I'm tying that with social media and the media basically, and the kind of images that they put out there as to what the ideal is. So a lot of particularly girls are not eating properly, or they're forcing themselves to throw up after eating, and then they'll binge eat, or there's emotional eating. Emotional eating can also be tied to the kind of reward system that we give or that we train our children. So they do well in exams, and then we give them a Coke. And then they then learn when they're feeling low. So they do well in exam, they get a Coke, they get praises. So they're like, oh, this is a good thing, this is a high thing. And so anytime they're feeling sad, they turn back to that reward system that made them happy. So they go and drink Coke, or they go and look for other things like that. And what that does is it starts to train the body to crave. So the body will now start to crave something like a Coke when it needs maybe like energy. And also, those are things that even we need to be aware of, how it is that we are training our children. They do well in school, and we buy them a pizza. And so, again, pizza or that kind of eating becomes like a reward system, which programs the mind when the mind is not feeling so happy that, you know what, let's have a pizza, we'll feel better. And also, those are things that we need to look out for. And schizophrenia is when someone starts to imagine things. Or, I mean, we all have our imagination, but when it is that you're not able to distinguish between what is the imagination and what is real. And so the two worlds are now blurred. And also that one is usually, when that happens, I mean, first off, we always say, oh, they have imaginary friends, blah, blah, blah. But we need to be mindful of that it could be something more serious. In Nigeria, we will spiritualize everything and say they're demons, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? There's also medical help that can help. There could be, it could be from a hormone imbalance, from what it is that the child is eating, or whatever it is. But there's medical help that someone can get for schizophrenia and for any of these disorders. And it's like having, in the physical, we have malaria, we have diabetes, we have, all these other physical disorders. All these other ones that I've mentioned are disorders of the mind. So it's not that the person is crazy. It's not that the person is under some kind of spiritual attack. It's a disease. They're just diseases or disorders of the mind. And so the more that we start to see it from that perspective, we can also remove the stigma that is attached to it so that we can talk more about it. A lot of families, when their children or their wards are going through something like this, particularly schizophrenia or depression or even severe anxiety, we tend to lock them up. We tend to keep them aside. We tend to not talk about them as opposed to seeking help. And there's a lot of help that is available, but we cannot access that help if we do not talk about it. Then moving on to social media. Social media is something that is here to stay. It's been described as more addictive than cigarettes and alcohol, if you can imagine that. And I'm sure you can imagine as well, because I'm sure a lot of us are addicted to our phones, to our Facebook or our Instagram, or even our WhatsApp DP. Any small thing, we're taking pictures and we're putting it up there. And it's almost like a new way of parenting, because a lot of children are now have access to smartphones. And so they're on social media learning things. They're on social media having conversations that they should be having with their parents or with their teachers or with physical humans, but they're having it online with people that they don't necessarily know. So we don't know the backgrounds of these people. We don't know what it is that they're teaching them, but they are exposed to it. And so that's how a lot of them are getting trained. Things like personal identity. I mean, children are asking these kind of questions online. These kind of things are popping up on their timeline. Porn pops up on the timeline of children. There's so much access to it. A friend of mine was telling me about, I'm sure you've all, she was complaining about Twitter and how there's just so much sexual content on Twitter. If you just go to the trending to the trending topics on Twitter and you click on it. So she's like freaking out that if her child just picks up her phone, gets onto Twitter and clicks on something, that's how porn will just show up onto the child's face. And then the child is seeing that. And as humans, when we see things like that, we honestly don't move away immediately. Some of the times we are looking, as in just even trying to process what it is that we're seeing. And particularly for children, if it's something that they're not used to, they're looking at it, mesmerized as what's going on here. And so they're looking. That is imprinted inside of them. And then it becomes something that can be replaying in their heads. They can go and start looking for more images like they just in the sense of just from the place where they want to understand what it is that they are seeing. Not necessarily that because they want to get involved, but the more they look to now start trying to understand it, they get to the point where they're like, okay, I want to experience this or whatever it is. So those are things that we need to pay attention to. Those are the things that they're exposed to. They're exposed to things like expensive lifestyles. They're exposed to things like even love. And a lot of teenagers are getting their concept of love of relationships from social media, from what people are posting, not understanding that the people that are posted here, they post for this picture. This is not real. And so those are things that they're exposed to. And those are the things that now start to shape their minds. They're very impressionable as teenagers. And so these are the things that are shaping their minds. And it's not for us to beat them or shout at them and all. It's really about conversation. That's the old way. That's the old road. And that really needs to change. There's increased depression, anxiety, confusion, and very reduced social and interpersonal skills. They just don't even know how to relate with humans anymore. Some of them don't even know how to construct proper sentences. They would, write it. I work with some young adults and they will write the sentence as if they are writing on social media. I'm like, no, type it out and no, spell out the whole thing. Use your punctuations and so that we can even understand what it is that you're writing. And there was a survey on young adults that was done on the impact of social media on issues like anxiety, depression, and identity. And apparently the different social media platforms have their different effects on children or on young people. So YouTube was found to be the most positive impact. And then Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and Twitter all had more negative effects on the young people's mental health. That's data to pay attention to as well. Maybe it can help to filter what kind of platforms children have access to or have conversations with them around how it is to use these platforms. But we must pay attention to the bad side of social media. But that's not to say there's no good side to it. So like YouTube has been pointed out as to having a positive impact on individuals. I mean, I, for one, YouTube, once I Google something, I go straight to a YouTube video on the topic first, as you know, let me just watch it, because we're now more visual and audio in the way that we're receiving information. A lot of us have sort of moved that way. Our brain bandwidth is now like 1.1%, as in we don't even want to process anything for too long. And so those are things that we need to pay attention to. Social media can be good. You can learn new skills from it. Through it, you can meet interesting people, you can make great connections, but there's this dark side that we need to pay attention to, particularly for young people, because if they are not properly guided, then we're leaving them, basically dropping them in the middle of an ocean. So Converse, so here I just want to tell you a little bit about a program that I run. It's called Converse, and it's a mental well-being program for teenagers. And our focus there is to basically equip them to be mentally and emotionally balanced. And we use an originally British curriculum, but we modified it and included things like creative art and mindfulness and movement. And why I bring this up is because I wanted to share some of the things that we picked up from the children, and after running like 2 cycles of it. And some of it is that children have a reasonable understanding of what anxiety and depression are. And they could actually, so some of them were, a high number of them were experiencing anxiety and depression. They had gone on social media to try and process what it was that they were feeling. Another one was OCD, obsessive compulsive behavior. A lot of them were experiencing those 3. A high number had experiences had insecurities about their body image, about their personal identity, about performance in school. And they shared that social media made them feel that way. It added to that, apart from just being with students and, being in the school setting and the insecurities that brings, but going on social media also increased that. A lot of them felt disconnected, or a lot of them feel disconnected from their parents and from their teachers. It's almost like it's us against them. It's us against them. So, and then they go on to say that teachers would say one thing. Well, not teachers in particular, not removing parents. Parents did that, but in the school setting, they said teachers would say one thing and do another. And so there's a disconnect for them, as in, okay, but you said I shouldn't do this, but you've gone ahead and done it. And parents also do this as well. This is a big disconnect for children. It just makes them lose respect for the adults. They lose respect for the value that the adult was trying to instill in them. And they're like, what's the point? If you yourself cannot do what it is that you're telling me to do, then what's the point? Just even something like, I remember witnessing something about curse words. I was having a session with the teenagers, and one of them used a curse word. So there was a teacher that was with us, and the teacher pulled her up on it and, gave her lip about it, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, before she even responded, some other students in the class were like, but you use that word as well. And the teacher, if he could enter the ground, he would have entered the ground. They're like, but you use that word as well. He was like, what do you mean by I use that word as well? One of them was like, you used it just last week. What did I say? They repeated for him. They repeated back to him, word for word, what he said. The guy wanted to enter the ground. And I was like, well, that's not the context. It's in a different context, blah, 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 blah. But it already showed that he had lost his power and his authority in a manner of speaking. And then a lot of them felt or feel misunderstood, unheard, and like there's nobody to talk to or nobody that they can relate with. And that's a big gap right there, because when children are feeling like this, it opens the door for abuse. They will go on social media and try and learn things. They will come to their own conclusions. This will affect the way that they process things and the way that they relate to things. If nobody is there to chaperone them. A high number of them go on the internet to have their questions answered. Many had mixed feelings about the pandemic and that nobody asked them about it. Nobody talked to them about it as to how it is that they are feeling. They were just all of a sudden not going to school anymore. Then some of them were doing homeschooling and blah, blah, blah. But there was no conversation as to how does this make you feel mentally? How do you feel emotionally? Do you miss your friends? Just things like that. So a lot of them felt very angry, very sad, and just a whole ball of mixed emotions that they didn't even have words to express, because guilt then comes in as, why am I feeling bad type thing. So then a lot of them spent a lot of time on social media platforms unsupervised. And this was particularly during the pandemic. And then even after the pandemic, they're still on social media unsupervised. And then many of them also wanted private sessions with counselors. For me, that shows that the door is already open for mental health disorders right there. This slide right here is to just show you something, some of the exercises that we did in class. So the one to the right here, I said to them on a scale of 0 to 10 to to scale their life. How do they feel their life is? 0 being my life is terrible, why am I alive? And 10 being my life is great and I'm happy, blah, 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 blah. And so this particular student had his life is 0. And then I also asked them what matters to you in life. And also he writes, my family and money. And my family, what matters to me is my family, my money, and friends. Where is he getting the mindset that my money is that much so important to him in life? And then he goes on to say, I am always angry. This for me is a big sign that there's a problem and this child needs to be with a counselor. This middle one was the question here was to draw faces, draw their face, how they were feeling in school, draw their face at home. So this, and their emotion during pandemic. So the face was to use emotions. So this big face here was her face now, her face in school. Then to the left was her face at home. That's her face at home. So she's happy at home. Then during the lockdown, she had a mix of emotions. She was happy, she was sad, she was angry, and then she was bored. So she had that mix of emotions and didn't have a lot of conversation around it about how to process, particularly the sad, angry part of it. The bored part of it, they would have told her, I don't know, I'm assuming, oh, go on social media, or, she'll have spent time trying to do something on social media or trying to just fill in that boredom one way or the other. You know how teenagers can come up with different mischiefs if not guided. Then this last one was very interesting. So right now, or in school, he felt he wasn't particularly happy. So he drew a little smile and he was like, at least I tried. Then during lockdown, he was happy, didn't have to go to school. And then this is at home. And at home, he says peace. He says peace and he has a smile on the face. But if you read what he has written beside it, you know that everything is far from peaceful. So he writes, study hard, do better, be quiet. Your opinion will not be heard. So for me, again, this is a red flag. And also he already knows how to put a smile upon his face for the outside world, but there are things going on in the background that if we're not asking questions, if we're not paying attention, can lead to depression, can lead to bipolar disorder, can lead to any mental health disorder, really. And so we need to pay attention to the teenagers because things are brewing. And Nigeria is not an easy environment to live in for us adults, talk less of children. There's just so much coming at them that we need to pay a lot of attention to them offline and online. And then digital wellness as a way forward. Digital wellness is a term that is used to describe the impact of technology and digital services on our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And so we need to be able to balance out for ourselves how it is that we're going to use these digital devices and platforms so that it does not impact our lives negatively. Social media is not supposed to distract from our lives. It's here to stay. Let's agree on that. But it's now and there's good in it and there's also bad in it. But we need to pay attention to how it is that we're going to let it continue to impact our lives. And so I believe that the school curriculum needs to change. It needs to adapt, or it needs to accommodate digital wellness in some way. children cannot be banned from social media. Instead, we need to have conversations with them around how to use these platforms so that they can get the best about it. We should also create opportunities for them to talk about what makes them feel uncomfortable in the digital space. And then now set up guidelines on how it is that these digital spaces need to be used. Because wellness is really about wellness, either physical, mental, whichever way. It's all about education. It's all about knowing more and more and finding the balance that works for you. Because your body is, the human body is the most intelligent machine ever created. It will tell you what it needs. Like for food, your body will tell you what it wants to eat, what it needs to eat. It will tell you what kind of nutrients it needs to eat. So if it's low on energy, depending on what you have trained your body for, if you've trained your body with Coke, so your body is used to Coke, and so your body will say, oh, would crave Coke when it needs quick energy. Or if you've trained your body to crave more complex things, it will crave something like yam or eba, as in, okay, I want to eat that. It might just be needing quick energy. So it's same thing with digital wellness. Understand what it is. We need to understand what it is that works for an individual, that works for a community, that works for a family. And then for children in particular, we need to then come up with lessons around online safety. So it can't just be a one-off, and it can't just be a one-off conversation or one-off lesson, or it can't be a talking down at. And remember, they're exposed to so much. Their intelligence is on another level. It's now for us to be able to connect with that intelligence and guide it and chaperone it. And also classes need to be designed that will teach them online safety and security, privacy, and the appropriate content for them personally to put on the internet about themselves. I know we're all aware of, there are just so many instances of children that have posted things about themselves that should not have been on the internet. And then like us, and then adults, unfortunately, in the scenario that happened at Christian school, adults, unfortunately, did not manage the situation properly, because adults were then passing on that same content, trying to watch it and trying to process or making their own unnecessary comments about it for whatever reasons. But those are the kind of conversations children need to know, because they knew they would get into trouble putting that on the internet, yet they did. So those kind of conversations need to be had with children. And it's not a conversation, it's more of lessons. And these kind of lessons need to happen at home. It needs to happen in schools. It needs to happen with the students alone, and it needs to happen for parents. And I believe that the school system, the teachers need to lead that way. We're the ones that would teach the parents even on what it is that needs to be done. And then I believe that we need stricter laws for inappropriate content for children and how that can be passed along. And I'm just going to round up here that creating digital habits, because we need to create to have wellness habits or digital wellness habits. And one of the first places to start is to create ground rules. What time is permitted to be on a device and for how long? What sites are appropriate to go to and what sites are not appropriate to go to, and explain why. As opposed to just saying, don't go to that platform. No. As opposed to saying, don't watch that content. No. Explain to the child why. And then enable controls on smartphones. A lot of smartphones have controls as to what sites they have parental control or something as to what kind of sites they can go to, and our computers have that as well. So those can be enabled. There's an app that is on Google called Family Link. It's a free app by Google where you can actually link the phones and devices of teenagers together. And as a parent, you can monitor those, you can monitor where it is that they go to. If they want to download a game, download anything from Google Play, you will get a notification on your phone wherever you are. You can delete apps from their phone. You can delete apps from their screen. That's a fantastic tool that can be used. Another thing is to check their phones periodically unannounced. So go through their pictures, go through the sites, their browsing history, where have they been? And then we don't pay enough attention to the parental guidance on films and the music that the children are listening to nowadays are, for lack of a better word, vulgar. It's not even, a lot of the sound that we're listening to, the sounds are catchy, but we're not paying attention to the lyrics. And when you have and the lyrics of a song, it's like affirmations. You are agreeing with it, you are declaring it. And it's also imprinted in your mind, it's getting imprinted in the soul, it's getting imprinted in the person. And so we need to pay attention to what are the songs that the children are listening to. What kind of films are they watching? Is it PG-13 or is it PG-18? If it's PG-18, why is a 13-year-old watching it? Those are the kind of things that we need to pay attention to. And put those kind of guards even on their devices so that they can't watch those kind of things when on their devices as well. And then schedule timeouts, give them a schedule. Okay, you come out of school, you have lunch, you rest, you do your homework, you go on your device for 2 hours, then you go outside for another 2 hours.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, I'm about to end now. You can't hear me, or my time is over?
Okay, no, I was not. No, it wasn't going to talk about your time. We noticed that your slides are not moving, and the participants all can't see your slides. It's just been the first one that has been showing.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Oh, so let me stop. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Let me reshare. But I'll make the slides available to you. Can you see my slides?
Only the first slide.
Wow. Can you see this slide that says starting point?
Yes, now.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry. I wish someone had said something much earlier.
A message, we have sent messages since.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I raised my hand since.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I will make my slides available so that you can have a look through them and all, and then you can read through. But I've sort of gone through each of the slides for you to see. This one was the one that I talked about the students in my sessions and some of the things that I noticed about that they had come up with from their art. I'm so sorry about that, because that was actually my last slide. I was on my last slide about us having, and the last comment I was going to say was have conversations about how social media platforms make them feel. And all. Mental health conditions account for 16% of the global burden of disease and injury in people aged 10 to 19. If these conditions are not paid attention to, then it's going to move into adulthood with them. And then it's going to affect how it is that they are productive, or it's going to affect how productive they are as adults. And so I believe that mental health and digital wellness is a critical and necessary success factor for schools in this century, for schools going forward. It is the only way forward that we're going to get our children on track. That's me. I'm so sorry that you didn't get to see any of my slides, and I worked so hard on them to put that together for you. So sorry that you couldn't see it, but I'm sure you'll get an email that has the slides so that you can process at your discretion. Do we have any questions?
Fóònù wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ fóònù wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ náà fóònù ní alẹ́ ló pè. Oní ọ̀sán kó wa ń ké tó dẹ̀ dúró dúró kò dẹ̀ rí ẹ ìyẹn ṣẹ́jọ́ tí wà náà. Àtà máa ṣiṣẹ́.
Please, madam, make the PDF available for us. Make the PDF available for us.
My slides will be sent out to everyone. So I'm seeing a question here. What can a parent do if a child is so strange in behavior to other children, does not want to be corrected? I would say take the child to therapy. Get the child with a psychotherapist so that they can talk to the child or talk with the child. That they are able to pull out information from children or from their clients that family members might not necessarily be able to, or that teachers might not necessarily be able to. So they're trained for that. So if you connect them with a psychotherapist, that's the best thing that I would say that you should do. And then I think I see another question. Majority of my students do not show interest in school. The home is a major factor in the chain. How do we bring parents in? I would say have conversation with parents. During the PTA, I know that there's the PTA meetings go on, but I think it's all about continued conversation with the parents and letting them understand that they need to be involved with their children, or more involved in helping the children at whatever stage it is that is happening at home. And also, if it's not their learning style as well, that's an important thing to pay attention. If it's not their learning style that you are trying to teach them in, then they're going to be disconnected from whatever it is. So maybe also the schools can have a way of determining the learning styles of students and then finding a way to train them. And I know that that can be quite challenging if there are different learning styles in the classroom. I know, but there has to be a way. So I guess it's time for the next speaker to come on, right? I can see her on the stage.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How do I pronounce your name? Maria.
It's Mary Alice.
Mary Alice. Okay. Nice to meet you, Mary Alice.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. So I'm going to hand over now. Who am I handing over to?
I know I'm ready to share my screen.
Okay.
And
awesome.
I want to just say it's, let me see what time it is, 6 a.m. here in Connecticut,
Oh, wow.
in the United States. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
very happy to be joining you today.
Thank you for making the time out.
Oh, yes. This has been several years that I have been working alongside Ella and Flip Learn Kids. And my name is Mary Alice Curran. And let me share my screen. Here we go. All right. And I will make these available as well. I just made them in, I don't know if anybody presents in Canva, but Canva's a great curation tool. And I made my slides here. And today I'm here to join you to talk obviously about digital wellness, but my focus really is that this is for all ages, no matter where you live or what language or languages that you speak. And to just put things into reference, I wanted to just quickly introduce myself that I'm Mary Alice Curran. I'm here in Connecticut in the United States, and I've served in a lot of different positions. My current position is I'm the founder and executive director of the Digital Citizenship Institute. And the focus of our work is really on how to use technology for good. The focus is really looking at the human connections online. And so that idea of it doesn't matter how young or old you are, what language or languages you speak, what practices you practice. This is the humanness of us all. We are one world and one human race. And so my work in the Digital Citizenship Institute, really, I can say I've served as an assistant professor, a middle school teacher, a middle school principal, but my most probably important role is that of being a mother. And so I just added this slide here about my why so that I could connect to not just digital wellness, but so you could understand my foundation and in my background. So my why happened when I was an associate professor at the University of St. Joseph in Connecticut, in West Hartford, Connecticut. And at the time I was a relatively new mother, and there were all these headline stories about teen suicides over cyberbullying. And there was one in particular that, I don't know, all of them affected me. But one in particular really spoke to me. And the It Gets Better campaign came out to let young people know, don't worry, it gets better. And I thought, why do we have to tell young people, like, don't worry, we all went through this, it will get better? What can I do as one person right now to make things better? And that's when I started to create courses, put on workshops, put on events. And I'll share this. I won't, just because of time, I won't show my video of this iCitizen project, but in the fall of 2011, I've never been able to teach any different, like, this is a defining moment for me. I asked my college freshmen to define what it meant to be a citizen in the 21st century. And I thought we were going to come up with a solution around a student solution towards cyberbullying and these teen suicides. And what we came up with was so much more. And it was really about that humanness, about local, global, and digital communities, being able to humanize the person sitting next to you. Because if you can't do that, that's the beginning. If you can't humanize a person sitting next to you, you're never able to apply it to people around the world that might look different, speak those different languages, practice different customs and traditions. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to see the human across the screen. And that's really what this iCitizen project in the fall of 2011, that was my why. And since then, you know, as I continue to work with schools, I have had the great honor to have spent July of 2017 in Nigeria. And I wanted to really point out this gentleman right here. This is Tola, Mr. Tola. Oh, Mr. Tola, you're on.
Yeah.
Mr. Tola, this was life-changing here. Mr. Tola, you want to talk about this moment? Okay, well,
Yeah.
you want to.
Can you hear me?
Perfect. I wanted to really kick this off with just kind of my background, but then how this one moment, and it's this corner picture right here, was the moment that the Digital Citizenship Summit Nigeria, that idea became a reality. And I'd love for you, Mr. Tola, to share, because I was talking about how it only takes one person to stand up and make a difference. And you are that one person. And that moment right there really is a defining moment for me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maria. How did it start? Okay. I have a friend somewhere in the city of St. Louis, Missouri, in the United States of America. His name is what's his name now? Rob Jacklin. And
I'll point him out right here. Here's Rob Jacklin right here in the corner.
Okay.
So, Mr. Tola right here. I'm right in the middle. There's Rob Jacklin.
Right. So I was friends with Rob Jacklin, and Rob Jacklin is an educator. Is in the tech area, and he teaches in a school, and is an educator. And we started talking about the idea of appropriate use of technology, especially in schools. And I felt that was an interesting idea, considering the fact that I know how technology use is in Nigeria. And I saw the reality of it in the United States. And between us, we thought, okay, it would be interesting to take this idea to Nigeria. And we were talking, then somebody who knows somebody connected us to Marialis. And then we said, okay, let's take this to Nigeria. And behold, I think it was July 2019 or 20, can you remind me?
2017.
2017, I'm sorry. So we decided to organize ourselves, and then we held an event at the University of Lagos. So it was an awesome event. It was headlined by the then Minister of, I think, Minister of Communications.
Right here.
The Minister of Communication headlined the event, and it was a big one. And thanks to Marialis and the rest of the team that came with her, it was a very awesome conference.
Tola, I always tell the story about that. I remember when we met and you had said that you wanted to change that narrative. You are the perfect example of all it takes is one person to stand up and say, raise their hand and say, I want to be part of this change. I don't, like, when I first got, my why started with, I don't want to wait for change to happen. And I'm going to try in my own way to have that, whatever that might look like, in whatever type of impact that might be. I'm going to start today. I'm going to stand up, raise my hand. And that is what you did. And I feel like today I'm hoping that we can continue to model that all it takes is one person. And when you think about your own sphere, like making that positive difference by taking that stand, that's all that's needed in the world. Because it inspires others. It's like skipping stones. It has a ripple effect. That one person stands up, raises their hand. I want to be part of that change, that narrative. And then it inspires others. And then that, that ripple continues to get larger and larger. Uh-oh, did I lose you, Tola, Mr. Tola? Oh, I hope he comes back on, because this moment is just another, it adds to, my why when I began in, that was fall of 2011, was my iCitizen project. And you'll have my slides and you'll be able to, I'm just going to go back for a second, click on that YouTube link and see that final project which was the iCitizen project. So, Mr. Tola, are you back? Okay, I'll keep going, but that was incredible. So that just puts things into perspective about why, and how I've worked with Flip Learn Kids over the years, where my heart belongs in changing this narrative for all students everywhere around the world. This is just, I put this up because so that you could get a better understanding of my focus working with young people and working with school communities around the world. I use these pillars, which were developed by ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology and Education. And I'm alert, I'm balanced, I'm engaged, I'm informed, I'm inclusive. And then this last one is what the Digital Citizenship Institute, we added this one because these 5 competencies, the first 5 competencies, are very proactive, but we don't want them to just be a check in the box. We want them to be something we don't just talk about, but something that we actively do. And so my focus working with schools is how can we help our young people become impactors, how they solve real problems. Mr. Tola, you back? Oh, okay. So that is really for my focus in the work that I do. But for today, I wanted to specifically, because I only have that short amount of time, is to focus on being balanced, because that pillar really goes hand in hand with digital wellness. And it's about prioritizing your activities on and offline, and that balance that we need in our real world, our in person, and then our on life, which are so perfectly blended that so many incredible connections I've met. This is even pre-pandemic, with people around the world that I've connected and I've collaborated with. So my on-life world is just as real as my in-person world. So, but what can I do personally to make sure that I'm balanced? And so I've put together today, and I know that the speaker before had talked about what digital wellness is, and I wanted, to set the stage. And I'm using an organization here in the United States, their definition, it's the Digital Wellness Institute. And when you get these slides, you'll be able to have that hyperlink so that you can look into the Digital Wellness Institute. But this is, again, focused. Oh, Mr. Tola, you back? Oh, okay. This continues to add to the focus on, it doesn't matter how young or old you are. This is for everybody. Digital wellness is something that affects everybody. So that's what digital citizen wellness is, why it's important. I took this quote directly from Flip Learn Kids. And this isn't just something that needs to be happening in the classroom. This needs to be happening at home, at work, at play. And so then it has this very interconnected approach that it's not just for our young people, it's for everybody.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Toller, I can hear your voice.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So I was talking about, I don't know if you had heard me, but I was talking about how I feel like the message I was trying to send was that when I first got involved, the It Gets Better campaign here in the United States was sending out a message to let people know it gets better. And I thought, why do we have to wait for it to get better? What can I do as one person? And I feel like that's exactly what you have done with your commitment to young people in Nigeria. So our ultimate goal is that we inspire people that are joining us today to realize the power of one person and how one becomes many.
Yeah, you are exactly right, Maria Alice. There is, I think maybe I shared this with you earlier on. I can't remember, but if I do, let me know. My mom, or let me start by way of introduction. My name is Tola Olayefun, and I am on staff with Brief Note Media, a news aggregator website. And I'm not an educator by any means, but I deal in a lot of information stuff. So my dad worked in the media, and my mom was a primary school teacher who later went on to become a headmistress. I struggled a little bit in primary school. I attended a public school, and it happened that I couldn't catch up with a lot of school material, despite being the son of a school teacher who enjoyed additional tutoring at home. My grades were poor, and it became a serious source of concerns for my parents. So, short story, what changed for me as I prepared for my first school living certificate, the primary 6 exam that we do, is that my parents were able, to show me a certain kind of love, affection, dedication, along with the extra coaching that I received, especially from my mom being a primary school teacher. So the advantage of that eventually prepared me for future education, and I went on to graduate with degrees in engineering and journalism. So I think I was especially lucky to have this kind of support growing up. But I'm sure a big percentage of people will not be afforded this kind of opportunity that I had. So fast forward to the United States, my classroom experience there or here, was radically different from what I experienced in Nigeria. I did mention my friend, okay, it's right there, Rob Jacqueline, and he introduced me to a lot of ideas in educational technology. And, I really feel that the kind of educational platform that is being practiced in the United States really need to be shared around the world, especially in my country, Nigeria. That is why I embrace the idea of digital citizenship, digital wellness, mental health, and social, emotional learning. So I think it's an awesome thing that should be shared in our country. So for a long time, our schools seem to emphasize academic work over social emotional learning. But I think that is changing now. And there are so many opportunities like what we are having now that open us to the possibilities of social emotional learning, mental health awareness, and digital awareness. So I am grateful that this is happening at this time, because at the time I was growing up, this opportunity wasn't there. And like I said earlier on, I struggled as a child, to be a brilliant student, kind of. But like I mentioned, I'm lucky to have the advantage of my parents being educated, and, they put their hands around me, and, I was able to navigate that difficult time of my life. So, and I believe that there are so many children, that are going through this as well. And ultimately, this kind of opportunity will bring them to navigate this, difficult thing that kids sometimes go through in schools. So I thank the convener of this program, and I believe that everyone that is present here, will avail themselves of everything that this program offers. In this program, there will be a lot of focus on social emotional learning. We are going to know that mental health is equally important as physical health. Usually when we talk about health, we associate it with physical health. But physical health plays a vital role. And we will learn that mental health and physical health are, equally important at the same level, because with good mental health in schools, students are able to improve their achievements. There is a possibility of decrease in depression, stress, and this is equally true for the educators, the teachers as well. So,
Tola, I want you to know, I don't know if you can see the screen, but while you were just talking about mental health, I wanted to share Same Here Global. And this is inspired, their logo is inspired by American Sign Language. And this is Same Here. And so when Tola was talking about mental health, the narrative is that it's 1 in 5, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and what a great opportunity for us to really explore the entire month, that it's 5 and 5. So all of this is an incredible organization. So Tola, I'm sorry that I interrupted, but I just wanted you to know, if you can't see my screen, that I'm just sharing that Same Here Global, because it is an incredible organization that really is focused on mental health awareness, and the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'll just go back right here. Beluga, I know that the founder of Beluga will be joining us shortly. And the entire month of May, it will be free every single day. There'll be an incredible conversation around Same Here. So I just wanted to add that in, Tola. Oh no, Tola, did I lose you? Okay. Well, I know that Evan Schwartz will be coming in. I'll just keep going until hopefully Tola comes right back in. But I love this scale. This will have a link to the scale. Because if you can't identify your feelings, you can't name them, then you can't understand or help to manage them. These are incredible STAR exercises, which are breathing exercises. This is a link to Same Here's Instagram, but that idea of it's not 1 in 5, it's 5 and 5. And I really encourage you to explore that. Tola, are you back?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay. So I was just adding that because you were talking about the mental health, so that we can share that great resource.
Yeah, I think I made the point. Mental health, social, emotional learning is such a positive thing for the school climate. It's positive for students and teachers alike. It's been said in researches that schools with effective social, emotional learning programs, sometimes usually experience a decrease in, discipline referrals, and it also increases test scores of students. So I really think this program is a great opportunity for students and teachers alike, to really bring an improvement in individual student abilities, as well as the school, as well as these school districts as well. There will be a great improvement and development in, both students and their educators. Thank you. Did we lose Mary Alice? Oh, wow. I think we lost Mary Alice.
Yes, I think we lost her. Maybe you can just give us more while we wait for her to come back. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Tola, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Tola, are you done with the speech, or do you want to say more while we wait for Maria Alice to come back?
I think I enjoyed the back and forth with her. Like I said, I'm not a teacher or educator by any means. maybe I will take questions. I don't know, but I'm not. I didn't make a formal. I didn't prepare formally for for this as a presenter, but I just wanted to tag along with Marialis to share the common experience that we enjoy together in this digital wellness, mental health stuff.
Okay, so I think there's a question here for you, and it says, what are the bottleneck you faced in this with Nigeria popularity?
Well, I think the main issue back then was educators were not exposed to certain knowledge. Oh, Maria, are you back?
I'm so sorry about that. I lost my electricity. Okay. The whole house went out.
Okay.
Okay, let me go back to.
Are you back now?
I'm back.
Okay. Someone, I'm trying to answer a question that was, I think, posted on the chat.
Let's see.
Hello? Okay.
Oops.
Okay. Can I finish with the... Okay, let me finish with the question, then you take it off from there. Okay, so I think it's a simple lack of awareness at that time. You know, the teachers were, I think, missing that kind of knowledge to assist students, you know, that are struggling with particular issues regarding learning. You know, the way we react to students back then, and I think even a little bit even now, is that, you know, they are just dumb, you know, unintelligent, you know, that however much you try, they can just not, you know, acquire knowledge in any, you know, in education. So, but like I mentioned, I was, you know, I was lucky that I have the loving hands of my parents around me, you know, that just patiently and maybe prayerfully too help me walk through that period. So essentially, the main issue is that our teachers back then didn't have the requisite training to help students, struggling students, navigate a period in their life where it is difficult for them to acquire knowledge. So I hope that answers the question.
Well, I just put the slides because I know that we'll have Evan should be joining shortly, but I'll just go back to just sharing quickly. Go back to the present. And but I've put the slides as a PDF into the chat box. And let me just go through. I know I shared the same here. but just, I know that, here we go. There are a couple of others that I just wanted to bring. Another incredible organization is Inspire Citizens. They are located, well, they're global, but some of the team is located in China. But I love their focus about being the change and leading by heart, head, and hands. And it's all the focus on empathy, the foundation of building empathy. Let's see. That's that Digital Wellness Institute. And a wonderful opportunity to kind of explore their model, which has digital citizenship, that productivity, environment, communication, mental health, physical health. So all these will be, they're all hyperlinked. Tola, this is Epic Deliberate Digital, which I know you've been to Utah. We put on an event together there. They have taken that Digital Wellness Institute's course, but if you hit here, there's a link to, their free resources as well. So I wanted to make that available. And then just so that you had my contact information, if there's anything that I can, I'm the first one to want to stand up and raise my hand and say, count me in. What more can I do? Why not me? And so I'll stop sharing for now. And then so I can look at you again, Tola, to see what it is that we can, conclude as a wrap up, because that part was, I'm so sorry that I lost my electricity there. The whole house went out for a brief moment. That is a world problem. That happens everywhere. It just happened here in Connecticut. So how can we best wrap this up, Tola?
Well, I think the best way to round this up is find a little hook that will, a kind of call to action. We are going to hear a lot in this program, about the importance, advantages of social emotional learning in schools. But beyond that, there will be an opportunity for hands-on activity that will be monitored over time, to see the progress individuals and schools and school districts are making. But I think the best way to bring this all down is to find the perfect call to action.
Yeah, well, the perfect call to me is it's, May 2nd, and the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And Beluga has partnered with Same Here, that's that organization, and changing it from 1 to 5 to 5 and 5. And every single day, one easy call would be to go and be a part of these conversations, but take those, not just be a part of them, but take that conversation and kind of like what we were describing as the ripple effect, skipping stones and your ripple gets bigger, is to make the ripple bigger. So to take those conversations and put them into action with young people, but not just our young people. I want to go beyond our young. Yes, we got to start with our young people, but this is something that doesn't matter how young or old you are. It should be happening at school. It should be happening at home. It should be happening at work. It should be happening at play. That true community approach to looking at digital wellness. Oh, I see a question in the chat, Tola. I'm a primary school teacher, and I have a question regarding how we can relate the mental health to primary school children. So I know that, they said they could unmute themselves. So Ella, are you available to how you would like us to, how to proceed?
Thank you for accommodating me. I am Olasukomi, representing primary school here on this platform. I quite understand and I quite enjoy this knowledge we are bringing to us here as a teacher. Mental health is a very peculiar thing we have to deal with in our schools, in our community as such. But as a primary school teacher, I have so many things bothering my mind. All these things we talk about relating to teenagers and children in colleges, they are actually happening in our primary schools. Primary school children, you know, believe are depressed, are kind of not
Okay, please, everyone, if you have a question, kindly send it to the chat box so that we can avoid the noises we're having from our background. We seem to have everyone talking at the same time.
okay.
If you have a question, just send it quickly. We can take your questions from the chat box so that we can avoid people talking
Okay,
at the background. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I can add to that for primary school, since that conversation has already started. I agree. We have to start early. We have to start that conversation early and often. And that same here, I don't know if you saw that scale, but there was a scale and I had said, if you don't understand your feelings, if you can't name your feelings, then you can't understand them or manage them. That same here scale, I feel like, is just a great way at that early age to start talking about our feelings, and that everybody kind of fluctuates and has these. I mean, this doesn't just happen to some people, it happens to everybody. And I even feel like that's a great start. Another organization, have you used empatico.org for resources? Because that's specifically for primary school. They're free. It's kind of like Skype in the classroom, what Skype in the classroom used to do, where you would be able to connect with other classrooms, but they have a great focus on social emotional learning. But that Empatico, I'll put it in the chat box, is a wonderful place for resources for our youngest learners. I hope that, I feel like I went quickly on that, but that same here scale.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So great.
We can take more questions. Okay, so we can take more questions.
I'm going to put that same here scale link in the chat box as well.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so thank you all our participants for staying on. If you have questions, quickly send it to the chat box so we can take your questions from there. Okay, so we have the link now on the chat box. You can also go to the chat box and click on the link. You find the link then just now. Okay, so we can have more questions. Okay, in the absence of any other question, I think you should just give us a round off so that we can go to the next agenda for the workshop. Okay, Mr. Olakusumi, I believe your question has been answered, right?
Yes, my question has been answered.
Okay,
it's quite unfortunate that there are so many people in the background that are hindering the communication flow.
Yes, that's why so we need to control that. So we just want people to just send their questions on the chat box. Then we can take it from there. Yes, thank you. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, I would like our last speaker to just round off so we can move to the next agenda of the program. Please send your questions. I can see Jayola Festus. Please send your question. Festus, you can type your question on the chat box so we take your question from there, please. Hello, Festus, can you hear me? Okay, please, I would like our last speaker to just round off so that we can move to the next agenda of the program. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And my slides are, I put them in the chat. I'm the first one to always want to be able to help. So please feel free to contact me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maria Alice. It was great having you this morning. Thank you so much. You made our day today. Thank you. And
it was a gift. It was an absolute gift to be able to do this alongside you, and especially Mr. Tola.
Okay. Mrs. Ella is actually she's in the background, so you might not get to hear her, but she's here. Thank you so much. All right, so back to our participants. Once again, we want to say a very big thank you to every one of us who has been here since we kicked off the program. We would like to go on a short break now. And before we do that, we'll be posting shortly a Google link here. Quickly click on the Google link and fill in the forms. It's very important to do that. It's also part of our progress assessment for this training. So quickly go to the chat box. You see a link there. Click on the link and quickly fill in the form.
Both him and that person, drop small pepper.
Okay, the link has been posted just now. This is that Google form link. Kindly click on the link now. And feel it. We're having a short recess before we go on to the next agenda of this program. Kindly click on this link, and once you are done clicking, you can just send on the chat box done. I know we have quite a lot of people here. So quickly click on the link. The link is here already. Click on it, is on the chat box. Click on the link and fill in the forms. Once you're done, you can click done or use an emoji to identify that you are done. Once again, the link is here. Just quickly click on it. It's been posted again for the second time. Okay, yes. Is there any organization or body of educators working on infusing mental health into curriculum? Yes. We also have a group for this, yes. We will do that shortly, but we want people to fill in those forms. We have a community of educators. It's called Mad for Sale. It's a community for educators, and we will sending that to you. So quickly just fill in the form with that link that has been sent. Once you are done, you can just come back to the chat box, use an emoji, or you can type done. Thank you. So this is like the first phase of the program. We are currently working on the educator and student leg of the program. Anyone done with the forms, you can come back to let us know so that we can move on to the next agenda. We just want to give a short break for that so that people can get to do that quickly so we can move on to the next agenda. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I hope we've been able to fill our forms. Please, once you're done filling the forms, you can just, once you're done filling the forms, you can just send an emoji, or you can just say done. Hi, everyone. In the chat box.
Please, can the link be sent to those that are joining via YouTube?
Yes, for our YouTube viewers, you see the link just now. The link will be shared shortly. Thank you. Okay, Fola Curtis is done. Thank you. So let's get more people so that we can move on to the next agenda. Thank you, Olu Sheung. Okay, Chidima is done. Patricia is done. Okay, Ukamaka, you're asking for the form link again. Okay, sending it shortly. All right, you can check again. It's here now. Looks like some of us didn't get the link the first time it was posted, so it has been reposted again. So kindly look at the chat box and you see the link there. Okay, Ajibola, please check the Yes, you can fill the form again. Just look at the chat box now. You see the link and then click on it and fill the form again. Please remember to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you. I can see many of us already getting done filling our forms. So follow us on our social media platforms. This will also help you to stay updated to all our balancing competency series. There's so much information on all our social media platforms that go out every day. So just follow us on these platforms and you'll get updated. Thank you to every one of us who are done filling the forms. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we would also like you all to just go quickly now and follow and share. You can go to our social media platforms now and just follow. So just go to your social media platform now. For those of us that are already on YouTube, and for every other person, you can quickly just go now and follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn. Okay, so we can just quickly go to your social media and follow us quickly. That will be one of the ways for you to get updated on all our programs, the Balancing Competencies series, and infusing mental health, social emotional learning in our schools. All the updates you need will be are on our social media. Just quickly go and follow now. Okay, thank you everyone that have filled the form. So shortly, we're going to do a short game before we call it a day. It has been a wonderful time. Thank you all for staying on from morning up until now. All right, so we're going to do a short game just to stretch our muscles. I know we've been sitting for a few hours. We're going to have a short game now. Okay, while we're uploading the game, don't forget, quickly go to your social media platform and follow Fliplearn Kids. You can find all our updates on all our programs there. Okay, the link to our social media is there. Instagram, just click on it now and follow. So we'll be uploading our game now. And we have so many words here, words that are actually linked to mental health and digital wellness all around our topic and theme for today, for today's workshop. So look at the puzzle game and pick the words you can find that are linked to our theme. Then once you pick it, you find, you can just send on the chat box. We'll take that on, and this will be the last agenda before we close. So quickly, our game is on now. So all the participants, you can kick off on the game. Okay, thank you, Adenike, Learn. Thank you, Samuel, Self-awareness. Thank you, Ajori. Okay, and some of those words are complete. So you have to look at it carefully, like making learn. It's there's another word that goes alongside with it. I can see, yes, thank you. Self-management, Akiade. Wellness, yes. Thank you. Optimistic, I can see health. Now, remember we have a team and the team for this BSc series, Balancing Competency Series 1 is mental health and digital wellness. So I'm looking for someone to get that word exactly the way it is on our team. It's actually there on the puzzle. Look carefully and you'll see it. So we are looking for those keywords. We have keywords that we are looking for. There will be a gift for anyone that gets it. We're looking for keywords. The keyword on our team. Remember the team for this workshop. I'm yet to see. Okay, so yeah.
Sure, costume.
Wow, congrats to all our followers. Oh, that's great. We have so many people following now. Yeah.
I want to follow too, everyone.
Okay, so that's going on that end while we are still having our games here.
Otipa. Of course. Wo kó bá ti ṣe tó wọ́n ní pẹ́ ṣe tán mọ́. Èyí wàá ṣàmọ̀ pa wọlé bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ọ̀lẹ̀ yìí. Kí ló ní ká ṣe sí pọ́ọ̀sì ìbára ọlọ́run mọ́? Ẹ máa sọ gbogbo tó tẹ bá ti rí ibẹ̀. Ẹ ó yá. Ibẹ̀. O ti kọ́. Self-management. Bóyá wọ́n dẹ̀ ń korúkọ àwọn tó ń ánsà. Ó rìkọ́ọ̀dù ẹ mọ̀ pé gbogbo kìíní à ń rìkọ́ọ̀dù.
Okay, so I think a lot of us have been able to make attempts, but remember the key, what we are looking at here, we're looking at that particular word that has our team together, and I have been able to find the individual that first posted that, and that individual will happen to be the winner of the game. So while some of us are still trying to find the words in the puzzle, I would like us to go and for those of us that are already following, remember to share at this time in our society, and the only way we can keep this information to the public is by spreading it. So one of the ways we can do that to kickstart our advocacy, you can just go and share your feedback on your own social media platform, tagging Flip Learn Kids. Remember, that's one of the ways for us to raise this awareness, and then we get more people join in the advocacy. Mental health and digital wellness. All right. Once again, we'd like to say a big thank you to every one of us here. Thank you for signing up for our Balancing Competencies Series 1, Mental Health and Digital Wellness, a key factor, a key success factor for schools educators and learners. So while we wait for finish,
I can see everybody wearing the glasses. School for the bye-bye. Bye-bye.
okay, everyone, I can see many of us are sending the words one at a time. Remember that the rule of this puzzle is that you pick all the words. There are about 12 words here linked to our team for this workshop. Remember, we said that earlier. So pick the words together and put them in one chart. Don't send it one at a time. And if you are one person and you have gotten 10, type your 10 and send it at once. That's the only way we can know the winner of this game. Remember that, please. So quickly do that. If you have gotten all the words, there are about 10, 12 of them. Quickly type them in together in one chat and send. Don't type separately. Type the words together. Type it. All the words you have been able to see. Type it in one chat and send. Don't send it one after the other. That's the only way we can be able to know. That's the only way we can know who the winner is.
Go and sit down.
Please, for those of us on the background, kindly mute your mics. We still have people talking from the backgrounds. Some of us are still not getting it. The rule of the game, you don't need to type mental awareness and send, type health and send. No, type everything on one chart. Once you type it on one chart, all the words you have found from the puzzle game, type it on one chart, and once you type it, send it to the chat box. Don't type one after the other. All right, so we are waiting for that. And once we see that, then we know we have a winner. For those of us that are following, please remember to click done once you are done following us on the social media platforms. Click done once you are following us. Remember, you're filling the forms and following us will also help us to know those that fully participated in this program, so we can also send you the training materials after the training. Still waiting for our winner. Still waiting for our winner. No, the game is not over. While we are also on the game, we have a lot of us on the YouTube. Thank you to all our YouTube viewers. Kindly follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and the LinkedIn. Once you are done following, you can click done. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for logging on today.
Julia, without the wine. Hmm? You know, column. Can check the volume.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we have a winner. We have a winner already from our game. And look at the chat box again. Our Instagram link has been sent, so you can also go there and click on us on Instagram. Once you're done, you can click done. We already have a winner for our game. Someone has been able to find the words. We have a lot of people sending different words. Some of them were mixed up, but we've gotten a winner for our game. Okay, thank you. So the winner for today's game is Akin Pelu Akinjide. We had to carefully look through. We have noticed that a lot of us were repeating the words when we were sending them, but Akin Pelu Akinjide was able to give us 12 words, 12 different words that are linked to our theme for today. So Akin Pelu, Akinjide, wherever you are, kindly reach out to us and send us your details. You can send that to, send it as a direct message to us so we can get your details. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. And before we round up, kindly follow us on the Instagram, follow us on Facebook. The link is there already. Click on the link. I remember somebody was asking if there is a body that is already working on this on social emotional learning. We have that, and we can get updates on our social media platforms. So go and click on the link and follow us. Once you are done, you can click done. Wow, and we also have an Instagram MVP. Ooh, we have someone, because you know all these were parts of a game section. We have someone that is our MVP for the Instagram, and the person's name is Adesam91. Thank you. A shout out to Adesam91. Thank you. Adesam91. Remember, you go to your social media platform, comment and tag us. And so sending the link again to you. The link is here. Kindly click on the link and fill the form. Remember, you're filling this form will help us to identify all the participants and send you the materials for this training. So if you haven't filled your form, please click on the link again. We have it here. Mrs. Ella just posted it again. Click on the link and then fill the form so that we can be able to send you the training materials afterwards. Okay. Millennium, you said you can't find the link. Okay. Which of the links? Is it the Instagram or the link to the form? Okay, we have the link to the form now. So you can, Millennium, the link has been posted again. Kindly click on the link and fill your form. Oh, so that means we need to give a little more time. Some of us are yet to fill the forms and also follow on Instagram. So the two links have been posted again. The link to the form and the Instagram link has been posted again. Millennium, I believe you can see that now. We have the form link and we have the Instagram link that has been posted just now. So quickly click on them and then follow and also fill the form. Thank you. Well, we have a Twitter MVP. Our Twitter MVP is at Adenike Awolola. Thank you, Adenike Awolola. A shout out to you. Adenike Awolola is our MVP for Twitter. Our MVP for Instagram is Adesam91, while the winner of today's game is Akinpelu Akinjide. Okay, so we are sending the link again. Ruka is asking for the link. Okay, Ruka, here is the link. That's the link to the Instagram. And then a link to the form. Christiana Uzo, yes, we just sent a link now. Twitter link has also been sent. So quickly click on the links. Someone is asking, when are we expecting the email? Just make sure that you fill the forms. Once we gather your feedback, you will get our mails shortly. So we want to ensure that everyone who participated in the program for today fills the form. So the form. Okay, yeah, somebody is still not seeing the link to the form, so we're sending it now. Here's the link to the form. Okay, the form link has been sent shortly. Remember to use the hashtags. Remember to use the event hashtags to share your experience. #FlipLearnK, #balancing competencies. If you are yet to get the link, kindly send the chat. We'll see it just now and respond to you. Password, Festus, do you mean the link to the form? You're asking for password. What password, please? Here is the link to the form. Okay. Yes, it's just been posted now. So you have the form link, you have the Instagram, you have the Twitter, and you have all the YouTube links. So we have all the links here now. So kindly choose the link you are looking for and click on it. Yes, we are already rounding up the program. The sessions from the facilitators are done. So we are trying to close up so we can end it for today. Okay, here is the link again. Somebody says she still can't see the link. We have all the links here. Okay, and I'll list them out here. Just one person was able to type in the correct words. We had others who got the correct words, but they were repeating them. Okay, so we have mental health, we have digital wellness. 3, we have thinking. 4, we have self-awareness.
Excuse me.
5, we have make. 8, we have optimistic.
Hello?
9, we have decision. 10, we have learning. We have disorder. Hello? And then we have health. So those are the 12 words from the puzzle.
Please, you did not put the link.
Which of the
Excuse me,
links?
please.
Which of the links?
The link for the form, you didn't put it on YouTube. The YouTube audience don't have the link.
It's on YouTube, madam. Please go and check again, please. We have one of our people there on YouTube. Mrs. Ella is there. The link has been posted several times, just like it's been posted here. Just go back to your YouTube. It's there, please.
The YouTube audience don't have the link. Why are you stopping? What?
Yeah.
Please, let's kindly pay close attention to the YouTube. For our YouTube viewers, a link is there already. Just go back and look at it again, please. The links are there. Just the same way we have been reposting here, same is being done on our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Hello to YouTube. Give me a link in order.
Hello, Mrs. Yusufa.
Mo ń gbọ́ yín mà.
Check kí lorúkọ yẹn. Ibi chat room. Àwọn link yẹn wà ńbẹ̀. Ẹ máa ti rí ti form. Ẹ máa rí ti kí lorúkọ YouTube.
Okay.
Ẹ gbọ́. Ẹ check chat room. Ó wà ńbẹ̀. Ó wà ńbẹ̀.
Okay ma. Ẹ ṣé ma.
Atinuke, I'm sure you can hear us now. We are actually waiting for our participants on YouTube and the rest of us that are yet to fill the forms to fill the forms.
I'm finding it difficult to join. I left an at me. I can't see anything. Everywhere is blank. Oh.
Okay, do we have any other questions? We are rounding up now. Remember to share the links to your colleagues. Do you have any questions so we can round up? Thank you once again for signing up and joining this edition of our Balancing Competencies Series 1, Mental Health and Digital Wellness, a Key Success Factor for Schools, Educators, and Learners, 2022. All updates on our programs will be on our social media platforms, so ensure you have gotten the links to the social media platforms and you are following already. With our folks, thank you. We have a total number of 214 people, participants on today's program. A shout out to all our YouTube participants and you here on our Zoom. Thank you once again for joining us in this first series of our Balancing Competencies. The link is showing, I can see Oluremi Tamilola, Tani Mola. Yes, the link is showing on YouTube. Yes, I just checked it and the link is showing. Oh, we already now have for our MVP for Facebook. So we have an MVP for Facebook now, for IG, Instagram, and we have for YouTube, and also we have a winner for our game here on the Zoom. Okay, we still have a lot of people that are yet to fill the forms. Remember, you are filling the form enables us to get information to send you materials for this training. Please, if you haven't filled the form, kindly click on the link and fill the form. Thank you.
One of you, that we just motivate, the Lord will multiply you with mercies, with favor, the Lord will bless unto you in Jesus' name. My name is Sabrina Husband, and welcome to Java. All right, so let's get talking today. It's going to be a very, very great time. And God is here with us all the way. For the benefit of those that don't know what Chatline is, Chatline is a gospel entertainment.
Okay, Adijat, you're asking for the links. Here are the links again. So click on the links.
Yeah, this boy is not.
All right, thank you everyone for logging on today and being a part of our Balancing Competencies Series 1, Mental Health and Digital Wellness, a key success factor for schools, educators, and learners. Thank you for logging on today, and shout out to all our YouTube viewers. Thank you for joining in, and we wish you a wonderful workers' holiday and the Salah for those of us are celebrating the Salah.
I'll find something for you, girl.
So if you need feedbacks, remember that we already have our links to our social media platforms, so you can send us feedback. Remember, when you share your feedback, tag FlipLineK, we can take your comments from there. Thank you all, and do enjoy the rest of your holiday. Bye.